Republicans are very upset because there's some new rules in Congress, and it's a dress code policy. Instead of going higher, we've dropped down. Chuck Schumer said that they will allow senators to wear whatever they choose on the Senate floor. I'm actually a little excited about what it is that might happen. He goes, senators are able to choose what they wear on the Senate floor. I will continue to wear a suit, which I agree with. Go for it, Chuck. Now these lax rules, they only apply to senators, but not the staff. So there's plenty of still professional looking people that'll be on the Senate floor or on the congressional floor anyway though. So under that standard, men and women have been required to wear business attire on the Senate floor, which has meant coat and a tie for men. But senators fresh off of a plane or from the gym could circumvent the dress code by voting from the edge of the Senate floor with one foot still in the cloakroom. They could hold their thumb up or down to indicate their vote and then step back out of the chamber. So at least things are still happening. They're still able to vote like normal, and they can come in with, some sweaty gym shorts on and stink up the place and still vote up or down. I'm somewhere in the middle of this, but let's get some more details on this. So except for the Republican Party, who had no problem with their supporters breaking into things, of course, during the Capitol, they're upset about this. They're like, what's gonna happen to the decorum of our institution? I mean, it's not like we had our supporters ready to kill folks, chanting from outside, breaking windows and throwing things around, peeing and pooping on people's desks, whatever it is that they were doing. Here's Mike Lee pointed this out. He said, police, firefighters, judges, pilots, they all have uniforms. Ours is a suit and tie. We shouldn't abandon it because it's more comfortable to wear sweats. Hold for Mike Lee to potentially be wearing jeans one day. They're also turning their attention to one John Fetterman. He's an easy target. I mean, look at him. And Justin Amash pointed this out with that particular link to this story. And he said, awful. The Senate chamber isn't your home, a gym or an outdoor park. If you can't dress professionally for work on the floor of the Senate of the United States, then do us all a favor and get a different job. Okay, well, if you can't represent the American people, also get a different job, which, I mean, to give some credit to Justin Amash, he's no longer in Congress. But Fetterman did respond to some of the responses to his dress code because we've been seeing it since he was running. And he responded to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who also said the Senate is no longer enforcing a dress code for senators to appease Fetterman is disgraceful. Dress code is one of the society's standards that set etiquette and respect for our institutions. Stop lowering the bar, because she's not lowering the bar. And Fetterman responded and said, thankfully, the nation's lower chamber lives by a higher code of conduct, displaying ding-a-ling pics in public hearings. Right. You guys don't know, Marge and a few other ones. Marge specifically was holding up images of Hunter Biden and some of those explicit pictures of his body that were taken for whatever reason, and displayed those as some evidence to him showing his body. And then he responded to this video from DeSantis. Let's watch this.
Did you guys hear the US Senate just eliminated its dress code because you got this guy from Pennsylvania who's got a lot of problems? I mean, let's just be honest, like how he got elected. Well, I mean, he got elected because they didn't want the alternative, but he wears like sweatshirts and hoodies and shorts, and that's his thing. So he would campaign in that, which is your prerogative, right? I mean, if that's what you want to do. But to show up in the United States Senate with that and not have the decency to put on proper attire, I think it's disrespectful to the body. And I think the fact that the Senate changed the rules to accommodate that, I think speaks very poorly to how they consider that.
Anything that's a change is offensive, which, by the way, Jackson Fetterman responded and said, I dress, in response to DeSantis here, I dress like he campaigns. I guess disrespectfully, messy, in sweatpants. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, you just kind of wing it. You know what I'm saying? That's what Ron DeSantis does. Just speaking of Ron DeSantis, he said what he said about Fetterman wearing the types of clothes he wears. Ron DeSantis tells little 7-year-old children to watch their sugar intake. He had the little kid, he had the little snow cone. He was like, what's that? He was like, what's that? And he was like, a snow cone. He was like, it's probably a lot of sugar in that, right? And then he just turned away and went the other way. And then but yeah, just in general, I mean, it's not as if the Senate really is busy. It's not as if they really do anything. It's like every time you look up, it's like, oh, we're about to be on recess for a month. And then nothing ever passes in the Senate because it's designed that way pretty much, especially through the corruption. The Supreme Court, relatively recently in the last several years, has taken many actions that have allowed more corruption within the political process in this country. So, at the end of the day, what difference does it really make?
That's the thing. So are we okay with, by the way, like I said, I'm mixed on it because I can see the purpose for being in professional attire because that's just our society. But if our society decides to start changing along those lines, we can change with it. I mean, there was a point when I'm sure suits in the form that we wear it weren't the norm, but at some point it went to that.
And most people,
when our founding fathers were wearing white wigs and tight ass pants, I mean, I'm sure there was times when we switched it and they were like, how dare you, I'm gonna wear my wig.
Don't lawyers still wear wigs in Britain?
I don't know.
Am I tripping? I think somebody in some of the courts do. But I was, just in regards to that though, I mean, I think generally speaking, most people will still dress formally. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, people might come to work. I mean, these are senators, like you said. The rest of the staff, they have a formal dress code, but most of them will still dress up nicely, just because it's not even just because it's tradition. It's also just kind of goes along with the position. So sure, you'll have a couple more people who don't do that more and more, but
what's it gonna do? Let's think about it. What's it gonna do?
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.